Huge IQ, great performance in the Marines, but you gave up. Drugs, petty crime. Never had a job.
Who are you?
Your father saved my life.
Dean says you're fair game.
Boys, I've had a rather emotional day, so whatever your beef with Eggsy is, and I'm sure it's well-founded, I'd appreciate it if you could just leave us in peace. What do you see? I see potential. Kingsman is an international intelligence agency operating at the highest level of discretion. If you're prepared to adapt, you can transform.
Into a spy.
Interested?
Oh, yes.
You are about to embark on the most dangerous job interview in the world.
We're here to test you to the limit, to enhance your skills.
Train you for the evil out there.
If you get blood on the carpet, you have to take the carpet up.
Can't stand the sight of blood.
Colin and Taron, thank you very much for being with me today in Paris for this movie, Kingsman. I like it so much. It's so funny, really. First of all, Colin, we met each other a few months ago here.
Yes.
For the Woody Allen movie.
Yes.
With Emma.
That's right.
Do you have any preference between Emma and Taron? I mean, making the promotion, it's easier with Taron or Emma?
Emma is a little more decorous.
She's much prettier. Much prettier.
No, apart from that, they're almost indistinguishable.
What was your first reaction, both of you? I mean, when you read the script for the Kingsman for the first time, I mean, it would say to you, wow, such a gift.
When I read the script of Kingsman for the first time, I'd already been talking to Matthew Vaughn for nearly a year. Yes, so I didn't start with the script. I started with a conversation. There was no script. I didn't know anything about it. And he showed me the comic book, so I had that. Actually, I thought, yes, I did think it was probably an extraordinary adventure, something new at, you know, this time of life.
And you, Taron?
For me, it was kind of representative of an incredible career opportunity, really. So I was just excited to be working with Matthew, Colin, Michael. The fact that the script was so good just made the whole thing extra exciting. I don't think it's any secret that I'd never made a film before. So to go into filmmaking and my first experience, it being a film that I mean, I personally think is fab. I think it's so much fun, you know. I certainly hope so. I don't know.
I've never met a tailor before, but I know you ain't one.
Come with me. What do you see? I see a young man with potential.
What does this do? Electrocute you?
Don't be ridiculous. It's a hand grenade.
Shut up.
And at the same time, it's so difficult to describe this movie because it could be, you know, kind of homage of James Bond, but it's not really that. It could be an adventure movie, like I said, secret agent movie, very chic, very smart. You think it's James Bond, of course?
Of course. Yeah. The James Bond, it doesn't precisely sum up what it is, as you say, but I think Matthew Vaughn's beginning to establish himself as almost a genre of his own. You know, I think that there are certain directors who are so assertive of their own style that actually they become the reference point, you know? It's, whether it's a pastiche of this or it's making use of that, in the end, I think already people are starting to talk about it's a Matthew Vaughn kind of movie. And I think that's the best way, even though he's very diverse, but he plays with very, very familiar reference points.
You're right. Yeah.
You know, if it's Stardust, it's a little bit fantasy, a little bit science fiction, a little bit of kind of vintage fairy tale. Yeah. You know, Layer Cake, it's the gangsters with
Kick-Ass. It's kind of like pop culture Tarantino, I suppose.
It's very...
It?
There is
a little bit, you're right.
Yeah. There's something of Tarantino, but I think the humour is different and the sensibility is, to me, lighter. It's more playful. Tarantino's playful too, but I find it darker.
Sometimes it's a little bit too much Tarantino movie.
It's heavier, isn't it, I think?
Yes, and I think that, you know, the use of violence is different. Manners maketh man. Do you know what that means? Then let me teach you a lesson. You could almost imagine during the fights that those bubbles that say "pow" and
Kaboom.
yeah.
Like a comic book.
Yes, very much. It's absolutely. And Kick-Ass was like comic book too.
Yeah.
And so I think he takes very, very familiar material, the material we've grown up with, that we love, that he loves, and it's an affectionate homage to it, but at the same time, he's making fun of it.
Taron, you think maybe making this movie is like Jason Bourne met James Bond?
Perhaps you could say that, but I think it would be the James Bond of olden days. You know, it's certainly not Daniel Craig meets Matt Damon. I think it has too much. Frankly, I think it's got too much comedy for that. Too much musicality.
We've got a bit of camp as well. I think,
you know, when you see Harry say, "I've had a rather emotional day," and when you see Eggsy, you know, towards the end of the film in his suit, there's a bit of campness there. We're both camping it up a little bit for comedy value.
Did you see the film Trading Places?
No.
How about Nikita? Pretty Woman? All right. My point is that the lack of a silver spoon has set you on a certain path, but you needn't stay on it. If you're prepared to adapt and learn, you can transform.
Oh, like in My Fair Lady?
Oh, they're all full of surprises. Yes, like My Fair Lady. Only in this case, I'm offering you the opportunity to become a Kingsman.
A tailor?
A Kingsman agent.
Like a spy?
Of sorts. Interested?
You think I've got anything to lose?
Some of the action films of today are going very resolutely in the direction of weighty and serious, addressing the emotional issues of the character. You know, we have superheroes with a soul and an unhappy childhood, you know, with their own personal torments. I personally love all that, but this is not that. This is going back to when it was just fun. You don't know about my character. You don't know anything.
We know nothing. We know nothing. Yeah.
You know, he has these skills and he's looking after the boy, and that's all you need to know.
That is sick.
We are an independent international intelligence agency operating at the highest level of discretion. The Kingsman agents are the new knights.
Because Colin played your mentor in this movie, during the shooting it was the same thing. Colin was a little bit like your mentor during...
I think...
Don't smile, Colin.
In some respects, by virtue of the fact that Colin is an actor with far more experience than I am.
That I'm old, he means.
You want to say that, in fact?
Colin is, you know, one of the world's most celebrated actors, and no one knows who I am. But if you can imagine a relationship between two people on a set, someone with a vast amount of experience and someone who's never done it before, for someone who has the greater experience to be doling out advice that's unsolicited.
Felt sorry for the boy, did you? He will find this humiliating.
He's as much Kingsman material as any of them.
We're here to enhance your skills, test you to the limit.
You need to solve problems under pressure. Like what to do when one of your group has no parachute.
What Colin did was give me, was open enough with me so that we could build a friendship.
What I did was look at your work and think, how does he do that?
Oh,
you know.
I think you'd probably call it a bromance rather than mentor and teacher.
So maybe the most important thing for you during the shooting was act and react. I mean, when you have the sequence,
that's all that's ever important is reacting. You know, reacting would be better for it than acting. Really, you know, it's acting is a dance. It's two people. In a scene with dialogue between two people, what the other person does is far more important than what you're doing. And I really felt that all happened quite naturally between myself and Colin. So yeah, we had fun. We had fun, and that's the most important thing, you know.
As some of you will have learned last night, teamwork is paramount here at Kingsman. We're here to enhance your skills, test you to the limit. Which is why you're gonna pick a puppy. Wherever you go, your dog goes. You will care for it, you will teach it, and by the time it's fully trained, so will you be. Those of you who are still here, that is. Do you understand? Choose your puppy.
A poodle.
What? They're gun dogs. Oldest working breed. Easy to train. A pug.
It's a bulldog, innit? It'll get bigger, though, won't it?
And it's so fun, I mean, to see this movie. For me, the most important thing is the humor of this movie. It was also necessary for you during the shooting with Matthew, working all the time this humor to keep the great balance, you know, between all the different genres. Because this movie, yeah.
Well, I think one of the reasons why Matthew is so skilled at what he does, and the reason why he does it so successfully, is because he has a very well-tuned blend of a sophisticated cinematic technician, a man with a mature vision. He knows, you know, he's very worldly and he knows how these things are achieved. And he's also got a lot of access to his own 12-year-old self. And the guy who knows what he would want to see on the screen. He's the fan. He's the guy in the audience. And that part of him is very much alive. And this is why it works so well. His ear is extraordinarily well tuned, even in terms of how to deliver a line. You know, he'll say it very simply: just make this flat, make this, or this one can sing more.
Special rhythm, like a song, maybe.
Almost like
tempo,
like scoring something.
You know, in my time as an actor, which is very short, I've been working professionally for about 2.5 years. Matthew is the most instinctive person I've ever worked with, I think.
And you feel that you trust him? Because
that's exactly the point, you trust him.
There are directors who have instincts, but they're bad instincts. And
oh no, his is so on point.
And your instinct is then to question it. As soon as he says something, you think, no, here we go again. When Matthew says it, I know he's
right, yeah.
He's right, because he's hearing something in his head for the movie.
Oh, yes. Very, very nice.
You're going to need a pair of shoes to go with your suit. An Oxford is any formal shoe with open lacing. This additional decorative piece is called broguing.
Oxford's not brogues.
Words to live by, Eggsy. Words to live by. Try a pair.
What's interesting, too, is that there was one day in which we spent a very, very long time on one line of dialogue.
Just one line.
Just one line.
You want to find a good...
It wasn't just the delivery. He was worried, maybe you should be sitting here, and maybe, no, well, let's not have a drink. Or maybe we should have a drink. And I could see what he was looking for, because there was a tableau in his mind, there was something being set up. And I was worried, because I had 2 pages of dialogue to do later. And I thought, we're never going to do it. And then with the 2 pages, we did it in 20 minutes.
If Colin and I walked on set and something about, say, you know, aesthetically, the set was not to Matthew's liking, if there was something about it that didn't fit his vision, we didn't shoot, you know?
It's a terrible pain for everybody.
No, but certainly it's very good for the movie, believe me.
It's very good.
As a viewer, it's a great cinematographic movie. I mean, sometimes with kind of movie, the light is not very good, the frame is little... This one is amazing.
You see, this is what I trust. And it's not, you know, I don't want to be simplistic about this, because these things cost money too. You know, most movies we don't have... You really don't have... You can't pay for the extra time to fix these things. But nevertheless, it's wonderful to be in the hands of somebody who is driven to that degree of perfection. And it's very alarming to be in the hands of somebody who says, no, it's good enough.
Your weapon scores are excellent, by the way. These you're familiar with, and this is our standard issue pistol. It's quite unique, as you'll see. It also fires a shotgun cartridge for use in messy, close-range situations. How do they feel?
Yeah, good.
Now do your very best impersonation of a German aristocrat's formal greeting. No, Eggsy.
That is sick.
It's interesting because your character in this movie, I like it so much. At the beginning, it's like a teenager, and he's grow up. He tried to grow up. It's not a message about how it's difficult being an adult, of course, but your character grew up in the same time and direction. So, do you think so?
I think to sit here and tell you that I've grown up would be farcical. I'm still.
Work in progress.
It's a work. Quite right, Colin. Thank you. It's a work in progress. But undeniably, you know, in the UK we'd say a baptism of fire. I don't know if you're familiar with this phrase.
No.
It kind of means, you know, learning through an incredibly extreme experience. Okay. I have had to grow up quickly in some respects, partly through the making of the film and the promotion of it. It's been there's a lot of responsibility there. So there are some, you know. They are quite simplistic, but there are some parallels between Eggsy's journey and my own, I suppose. I'm not killing anyone, that's the difference.
To everyone who said I never make it.
Felt sorry for the boy, did you?
No, weren't you mistaken?
He's as much Kingsman material as any of them. More so.
I got a dinner date with greatness.
Mankind is the virus, and I'm the cure.
Sounds like a lot of people are going to die.
Do I look like I give them?
You can't always please the crowd. Still not bowing down. This heavy crowd.
Son of a bitch!
Colin, it's always a great pleasure to meet you. Maybe it's 3, 4, 5 times I met you during 2 or 3 years. Good things, and I like so much. Every time it's different project with different director. How you try to find a good script? I mean, you receive a lot of script right now, and you have a lot of choice.
It's never pure and perfect choice, because I suppose, well, I don't know what that would look like, but I suppose people might imagine that choice is 5 scripts, and they all have funding, they all have a start date, and they all have a director, and they all have cast, and all you have to do is choose. It's never like that. You know, this one has no money, and a director. It's a beautiful script. Director, I'm not sure. This one, I love the director, but the script needs a lot of work, and they don't have a cast, and they don't have a star. So you're always playing with. Now that's being lucky. It's never a scientific.
Well, no rules. I mean, you mean
there aren't. So you are working with incredible unknowns and variables, and there are so many reasons why something is attractive, and so many different reasons why something makes you cautious. You know, the film I've just finished is called Genius. That was one of the few scripts I've ever read, and I thought, okay, that is a script I want to do. I don't want it changed. Let's start next week. Well, there's no money and there's no director. And
but you like the story and the project?
That was 5 years ago, and I shot it just before Christmas. So that's how long it took.
Yeah, the process is very long.
Actors came and went, directors came, you know, and then. So it can be like that. This one, I wanted to work with Matthew Vaughn. I was pretty sure about that. He was going to start next year. Instead, it was the year after, and there was still no script. So that's a very tortuous description of how it is. But I suppose even when you are in an incredibly fortunate position, the things you have to base your decisions on are not very precise.
And what about him? What makes him so special?
Put it back.
Merci beaucoup à tous les deux. Thank you very much. And thank you for the great movie. Thank you. Merci beaucoup. Merci. Merci, Taron. Merci, Colin.